From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hey, it's Charlie Matos. In this episode of our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast, we visit with our friend Lucas Hoge. What an exciting time for Lucas. He was set to release the Sunday Sessions album, and he had just been named by Polestar magazine as one of the top streaming artists in all of 2020. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Lucas Hoge.
In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore.
Welcome, Lucas Hoge, to the First Baptist Evangelical and Reformed Pentecostal Seventh-day Brotherhood of God in Christ Incorporated, doing Sweet By and By, or as we say in the Southern Baptist Church, here to sing the spatial music today. Kind of like Lester Flatt in the old days. The spatial. Going to sing the spatial for the congregation. Boy, I couldn't be more proud of anybody. And Megan, I know you feel the same way. At first, I'd like for Megan to recount your being her first friend when she got to Nashville. How that came about.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, Lucas, we just had a mutual friend who said, y'all need to meet each other in Nashville. And we both moved here, not really knowing a soul. And so I think we got together with Mexican food, started talking.
I think
and
that's
it's just,
exactly right.
Yeah, and we just hit it off. Lucas is the real deal. He was there when I had one of my first dates with my husband. I remember him and Laura Lynn, his now beautiful wife, when they first started dating. Like, we just got to be a part of some big moments in each other's lives and keep in touch all these years. And I feel really blessed, and I am so happy for your success, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I remember many karaoke night down on Printer's Alley with old Brian there.
He can't sing.
Well,
he can't sing, Lucas.
Dance, though. He can dance.
He can dance. And Lucas and I also share a weird obsession with haunted houses.
Oh, wow. Well, I was just wondering how Brian felt with Lucas in the back seat, apparently, while you guys were on a date.
Lucas gave him tips. You encouraged him.
Of course.
Lucas told Brian to get out on the dance floor and dance with me because he wasn't.
Oh, good stuff. Real life stuff. Lucas, and we know your talent from way back. You've been bringing the guitar and coming to the studio there at the Magnolia Lobby studio where Charlie is this morning and playing and singing for us. We, for the longest, have been going, why isn't this guy just an absolute superstar? And then we look back on 2020, and I'll be a son of a gun. The Opry was the #1 streaming show on Polestar, and you ranked in the top. Where were you when it was all said and done? They look back.
Number 9 in the world with you guys.
Good for
pretty
you.
Cool. Yeah,
Oh,
pretty amazing. Being able to pivot and turn these things into what they are today is pretty awesome. You know, to have people out there streaming them. Yeah.
People will recognize the backdrop because that's really how it happened, wasn't it? Where did you get the idea to go back home to Nebraska, at least in your mind, and say, you know what? Let me recreate how I grew up in my childhood going to church on Sundays. And where would that have been, by the way? What church?
The United Methodist Church in my little hometown of Hubble, which is no longer there because it was an old prairie church that we grew up in. And it's actually in a museum. They literally lifted the thing up and put it out, and it's in a museum now.
And
but
it's in Nebraska, for those of you who don't know Luke's backstory.
Right here. That's about how big it was. A little one-room church, and the peak of the congregation was probably 12 to 15 at its, heyday, right? Because there was just nobody around,
Did you flip through the Cokesbury hymnal then, being a Methodist church, and go to find your playlist of what you were going to do?
Absolutely. I started these Sunday sessions on Facebook over 3 years ago now, right? And it's just something that I wanted to do personally for myself, hoping that people would, gravitate towards them. And they quickly took off. I was just anywhere I'd be on the road or whatever. Me and my guitar player Thomas would just prop up on a picnic table or wherever and just sing a hymn on Sunday mornings. And then during quarantine, I was like, you know what? Let's do these as a live and see how they do. And they just started taking off, getting hundreds of thousands of views every Sunday, and getting people requesting, hey, when are you going to do an album? I'm like, well, as soon as I raise the money to do it.
Did you ever do one on a hunting trip in camo? I've never seen one like that, but I'm sure you probably did.
You're absolutely, I haven't actually.
That's an idea. That's an idea.
That. I don't want to scare the deer away.
Well, also, speaking of that, season 2 of Hoge Wild airing in the U.S. and Canada. Tell us about your outdoor show for people who may be hearing about this for the first time.
Absolutely. Well, growing up in that little town of Hubble, 44 people out in the farms and stuff. And that's all we did. We were outside all the time. We'd hunt and trap and do things before practice in the morning when we go to school, and then we check our traps on the way home. And it was just something that stuck with me my entire life. And I tell everybody on the show, it's like my guitar has been my passport, right? Taking me all over the world, getting to meet amazing people that want to introduce me to their life or bring me into their fold. And I'd be a fool not to bring a camera with me. And we started doing it and started talking with people. And it's been a labor of love, and getting to finally get it on the air was pretty surreal this year. And we've got to do some amazing things, diving 100 feet deep down in the Cayman Islands to, chasing red stag in New Zealand and possum, and all over the place, all over the world. It's been fun.
You could have stayed closer to home and found possum. I'm just saying.
Have you seen New Zealand possum? They're pretty cool.
Yeah. Bill, Cody, you will love this one. I got to see Lucas perform at the Ryman when they did the Opry at the Ryman. Remember that, Lucas? Tracy Lawrence performed that night. Jeannie Seeley hosted, I believe. Yep. Just take us. That was such a cool experience. I mean, I know you just ate it up.
Oh my gosh, the first time playing the Ryman was just amazing because, I had a lot of friends when I moved to town that, were playing for the big guys, and they'd always have me come out and be backstage with them while they're playing the Ryman or the Opry, whatnot. And they'd be like, hey, come out and get your picture in the circle, and I'm like, guys, I thank you so much. I'm going to hang out back here because one day if I never get the invite to come and play the Opry, then I'll keep that moment, as sacred as possible. And thank God I did, because when I first got to step into that circle, it was just amazing. And there's just nothing like it. And having your friends there singing as well was really cool. My buddy Gary Muledeer was doing his comedy stuff, and Gwen Sebastian was playing as well, which is really, really cool to have friends there to make it just a hometown feeling.
By the way, Gary Muledeer is in not this weekend, but the following weekend to play the Opry. He'll be back in town. So
yeah, I saw that. I need to come, surprise him backstage.
You do
when he gets there.
Absolutely, I know he would love that. So tomorrow, the availability of Sunday Sessions, not only the concept that you have brought to the internet and streaming platforms, but the actual album is available. How do people go about getting it?
Yeah, it's going to be on all the streaming, all the downloadable platforms everywhere. And it's just one of those albums. We try to keep it as true to how I do Sunday Sessions as possible and give it a little bit of elevation. My friend Ben Miller is just an amazing guitar player. So he's the one doing all the picking on there, which is amazing. That is such a great job. And I can't give him enough praise for that. So I'm really looking forward to everybody hearing it, downloading the heck out of it, and just sharing it with their friends and family as much as possible.
No, I'm looking
you can check it out on my website at lucashoge.com, and Hoge is Hoge. And
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the set list. Now, I'm assuming, Lucas, that being the resident Catholic on the show, all the songs about Mary will be on like Sunday Sessions Volume 2. Because there's no Immaculate Mary or anything like that.
To hear Lucas, Lucas Ave Maria. I would love to hear you sing that song. Oh.
Listen. Garth Brooks, you got competition.
That's
okay,
right.
It's one thing to stand there at the inauguration and sing Amazing Grace.
Right.
We're going to close, Lucas, with Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. Do you know how we used to do, like, we're going to do the first, second, and fifth stanzas. We'd skip a bunch of verses. You do them all here, I guess? Huh?
No, I don't.
That's what we're going to close with, is a sample of what you'll get on Sunday Sessions out tomorrow from our buddy, Lucas Hoge. Thank you, Pard.
See you, bud.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Hubble, it's a telescope, and it's also his hometown in Nebraska. There you go.
Jesus, safe and secure from all alarms. Lean on Jesus, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.